Hello everyone, I'm Adam Ebert and welcome to Can I Teach It, a show that explores the teachability of pop culture across mediums. Today's episode is on the Netflix series City of Ghosts.
This book is filled with beautiful prose. This film cert acts a bit on the nose. This album features just one hit, but can I teach it?
With me, Mr. Ebert. City of Ghosts is an animated series from creator Elizabeth Ido. The show centers around the Ghost Club, a group of young people who investigate the ghosts that inhabit different neighborhoods throughout the Los Angeles area. Each episode features a distinct locale that is occupied by the ghost of someone who used to live in or occupy that place in some capacity. The kids interview the current inhabitants in an effort to get to the bottom of why the ghosts are occupying that space. What unfolds is usually both a lesson as well as an exploration of what makes that location or neighborhood unique. The things that help make a neighborhood are distinct end up being not the homes, the businesses, or the infrastructure, but the people who have found themselves in that place and have left their individual mark on it. What I love about the show is that it recognizes and commemorates the rich history and culture of each of those places. It doesn't pander to children. It presents itself to them in a manner that is authentic and is much needed nowadays. Finally, City of Ghosts expresses such a distinct sense of place in each episode, and that's something I think our students really need to see. The benefits of seeing outside of our neighborhoods, our cities, our bubbles is crucial, and seeing the cultural specificity of each episode can be incredibly enlightening for your students. With that, let's talk about how would you teach it? So the age range of these proposed lessons range from the older elementary grades to the younger high school grades, and the lesson plans linked in the description below work for all students within that range. You may need to modify for your specific classroom, but here's how I would teach it. Open with a discussion of community. How do we define community? What contributes to a community? What is a community composed of? Having these conversations with your students gives you an agreed upon definition to set the tone and the objective for what you're going to be doing in that lesson. From there, discuss with your students or just straight up ask them what they think makes their community unique. Start with the people, but get into the places, get into the businesses, get into the culture, and get into the history. From there, show your students an episode or episodes of City of Ghosts. I've created a graphic organizer in which students fill out some basic details presented throughout each episode. After finishing an episode or episodes, have students use their notes to reflect upon the essential questions or some discussion questions for this unit. Such as, how would you describe the featured communities? What does each community value? What is the makeup of this community? How has that community changed over time? From there, you can have students compare their own neighborhoods to the ones featured in each episode. This will allow students to see the distinct nature of the places that they live, the distinct makeup of the places they live. This can also allow students to be able to differentiate these neighborhoods and cities, making it clear that they live in a place that is distinct and unique. Having that perspective at a young age can often be difficult when we're stuck in our own little bubbles. All of this can then be wrapped up with two options for an assessment in which students research a place that they've called home, whether that's where they're currently living or a different location, perhaps where they grew up. Considering questions like, where are the places that the community gathered? What is the history of that community? What are some of the people that helped build that community on both a micro and macro level? After having done research, students present the community they researched back to the class, making connections to what they watched in City of Ghosts. The other option, the creative option, the one that I usually prefer, is to have students do that same research, but the product they create is closer in style to a City of Ghosts episode. Maybe they create a poster, write a script, or even create a video that is reminiscent in style to what they encountered with City of Ghosts. This would allow them to create a ghost of their own centered around a figure in their own community. Have them consider, where would that ghost reside? How would they manifest themselves in that location, and how people in that place may interact with that ghost. Creative projects always yield better and more authentic work, in my opinion, And I think this would be a great opportunity for your students to research and explore their communities, presenting that back to the class in a creative way. In fact, I was able to find a ghost of my own at my school in a segment I'm going to call Classroom of Ghosts. Take a look. So my school is a beautiful school. There's lots of history. The building's over 100 years old. So naturally, many people have made their way through this building, and some people have stayed here. So as I started to clean up my classroom at the end of the school year, I noticed some strange things happening. My classroom was ice cold when I came in the morning, and I always keep that business warmed all the way up. My lights would randomly turn off way before they were supposed to. Now, these two things may have been accidents, but one day the culprit left a note on my board that needed, well, revision. So from there, my new friend made himself known and explained himself.
So this guy sets up in his classroom a couple years ago. Pretty cool vibe. Nice posters and all that. And then last year, everyone just left early. I don't know why. This place was pretty lonely for a while. For a pretty long time, actually. Then some people came back, but not everyone. A little more people came after that, but it wasn't really the same. When I saw this guy start to clean his classroom this time, I got really bummed. I didn't really want to be alone for that long.
Well, do you want to come to my house and hang out for the summer?
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, anyways, Albert is great to have around the house. He's doing great with the kids, and honestly, he's a blast to play catch with. But anyways, let's talk about should you teach it. So with many of these should you teach it segments, I usually discuss the parameters of whether you should or should not teach something. With this, I most certainly recommend previewing City of Ghosts before you show it to your students, naturally. Consider that age range. If you teach older students, it may not necessarily resonate with them. If you teach really young students, it may possibly go over their heads. However, I think there is something so potent and universal within City of Ghosts that makes it such an amazing piece of content to bring into your classrooms. It is a show that celebrates culture, community, and diversity featured within those things. It does everything I've mentioned in a manner that is authentic, creative, and effective. So with that being said, I think you should most certainly teach it. And I believe it would be an incredibly effective piece of media to teach with. Consider where you can fit it into your curriculum as a lesson featuring an episode or a mini unit featuring the entire series. All right, folks, so I would love to hear from all of you with your thoughts and opinions. I'm always open to suggestions for topics and media to discuss on a future episode. So please be sure to leave those suggestions in the comments if you have them, and please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Adam Abort and on Instagram at Can I Teach It. But until next time, happy teaching.